everyone, welcome to the Sew Essential vlog. I'm Lucy and I'm here today to talk to you about how to start sewing. So thanks to the raft of fantastic craft-based programmes on telly, things like the Great British Sewing Bee, Kirsty's Handmade Christmas, and also a thriving online sewing community, so many people are getting into sewing and nothing excites me more because I know what a wonderful hobby it is, how great it is for so many different aspects of our lives, general well-being. It's a great form of mindfulness, it's fantastic for body positivity and just having some me time really, which is something that we could all do with a bit more of, I think, in this day and age. So you're sold and you want to start sewing but it's a bit overwhelming and you don't quite know where to start. Well, I'm going to make it nice and simple for you today. So the first thing you're going to need is a sewing machine. Now this might sound like a big expensive commitment, but it doesn't have to be. My advice would be, you probably already know somebody who's got a sewing machine. Why don't you ask around and see if anybody you know, friends or family, have one that you could borrow and have a go with and see if you like it. If it's somebody who's already into sewing themselves, they'll be thrilled to get you involved and to help you and to show you the ropes. If that isn't an option, you don't know anybody who's got one, how about signing up to some local sewing classes where often they'll provide the machines and the basic tools and equipment to get you started, and again you can just test the water and see how you get on. But trust us, you probably will pretty quickly want to buy your own machine because it is highly addictive and you will want to be able to sew wherever, whenever you can, so you won't want those restrictions on you. If that's the case, it can be a bit overwhelming trying to decide which sewing machine to buy, but we made a video all about that, telling you the most important considerations and how to navigate the market and understand what the right sewing machine would be for you, how much to spend, what you might use it for, and you can see that video here on our channel. I'll try and pop the link to that below as well. And we've got a full range of sewing machines of all the top brands on our website. You can find the link to our website below, and we're always happy to talk you through your options and help you navigate the market and choose the right sewing machine for you. So once you've got a sewing machine, the next thing you're going to need to do is work out how to use it. Now I remember when I first started sewing, bearing in mind Sew Essential is my husband and my mother-in-law's business. I've been around sewing for years and years and years before I got into it. I remember one of the things that I was worried about was setting the sewing machine up because I thought it was going to be this massive complicated process. There were loads of wires and what bits plugged into where and what did I need to do. But actually it really is just 3 simple steps. All you need to do is plug in a power lead and a foot control. Sometimes these are come connected together, sometimes they're separate. The foot control is what you put your foot on to make the machine sew, and the power lead is what goes into the machine and the wall to get the power to the machine. And then other than that, you just have to thread the needle, which is this bit here, and you put the thread on the top of the machine, follow the path. There's a series of hooks to go through, and then you thread the needle, and then also in the base of the machine here there's a bobbin and you thread the bobbin. So it really isn't as complicated as I thought, and that was one of the things I was most worried about when I first started sewing. So I just wanted to put that out there and help people to understand that setting a sewing machine up really isn't very difficult at all. There is also a video where we did an in-depth review of a great starter machine, the Janome 725S. It's the most popular selling model and it's the one used on the Great British Sewing Bee, and we show everything about that machine on that video, but we also show step by step how to thread it so you can actually see how easy it is to thread a sewing machine, and I'll pop the link to that below. But what I will say is most sewing machines, I've used lots of different ones over the years now, thread in a very similar way. There are some slight nuances, so it's always worth just referring to your manual the first few times you do it just to make sure you're following all the steps correctly. But it's usually marked on the machine as well with a series of arrows exactly where to go, so it's very intuitive, very easy, and it will very quickly become second nature. So the next thing you need to do, once you've got a sewing machine from somewhere, you've got it set up, you know how to work it, is you need to choose a project. And obviously the best thing to do here, if you're just starting out, is to choose something very simple. So what I've done is I've picked out some of my favourite beginner sewing patterns. Now, I personally think a great project to start with is sewing a skirt, because skirts don't require lots of fitting. You've only got to fit your waist and your hips. It's not as complicated as some of the other areas of your body. And I just wanted to share with you some of the really simple skirt patterns I've made. So the first one is the Sewaholic Ray skirt. This is a pull-on skirt with an elasticated waist, but it has got several panels of fabric, so you do get a lot of practice of sewing straight seams, which is really good when you're just starting sewing, you just want to sew all the time. It's a really nice pattern from that point of view, but very, very easy to fit because it's got an elasticated waist, so you don't need to worry about zips or buttons or any of that. It's very, very straightforward, simple sew, but it's a really nice pattern as well, and I remember being thrilled when I made that as one of my first few projects. The next pattern is the Simplicity 1370 pattern, view D. It's a very simple A-line skirt with a waistband, and this one does do it with a zip, so you've got the opportunity, if you want to stretch your skills a little bit more and try a bit more of an advanced technique, you can try putting a zip in, but it is a very, very simple skirt. Again, I think there's only 3 pattern pieces, the back, the front and the waistband. It's very, very simple and straightforward, and another great beginner pattern. Then if you're not into A-line skirts or you don't want to make an elasticated waist skirt, you could always make a classic circle skirt, because this is a super easy project as well, and this is Simplicity 1200. So it's a classic circle skirt with a waistband, and it's fastens with a zip. So again, you could, if you want to try a zip, you can do that. I can't remember how many pattern pieces are in this, but it's a very, very simple make, very enjoyable make, and it's absolutely lovely to wear as well. I've got one of these which I made fairly recently, and I love wearing it. And then finally, if you want to make, say, a pull-on skirt that's very, very easy, so we had the pull-on elasticated waist Ray skirt, which was a bit more flared. This is an option. The Jarly 3883 is a pull-on version that is tubular, so it's very fitted, like a pencil skirt almost, but it is an elasticated waist again, so no fastenings, very, very quick and easy to sew. You do have to make this in a knit fabric though, so if you want to try this pattern out, there's no reason you shouldn't try a knit fabric, but you would need to check out our top tips for sewing with knit and jersey fabrics, and I'll pop a link to those below. But there's a nice selection there of skirts for you to try. Now, if skirts really aren't your bag and you're not into them and you'd rather make a top, there's a couple of patterns I can highly recommend here. One is the Cielo Top and Dress by Closet Case Patterns. It's a lovely, simple, put on over your head, no fastenings, no zips, no buttons. There are bust darts on it. But other than that, it's a very, very simple sew. You can make a very simple boxy t-shirt. But then what I like about this pattern is you can make a dress as well, and also there's lots of variations and options for different sleeves, different neckline finishes, obviously the dress and the top as well. So I think this is a great beginner pattern because it's a pattern that you could make the most basic version first, and then you could grow into and make lots of different garments out of, and you know, really stretch your skills in that way and get a lot of mileage out of one pattern. And then the other pattern that's a really nice easy classic is the Grainline Studios Scout t-shirt, which is a woven pattern again. Just throw it on over your head, classic t-shirt, very, very simple and easy to make, so definitely recommend that one as well. Now, when you've chosen which pattern you'd like to make, obviously there's tons more patterns on our website. You can find the links to our website below and all our sewing patterns there, but they're just a few I've picked out that I know are nice and easy and straightforward. Once you've chosen those, you will need to choose a fabric to make them with. Now there will be fabric recommendations on the back of the packet, so always have a read of those. And for most of those projects that I've just shared with you, all of them apart from the Jarly knit skirts, they'd all be suitable with cottons or denims, which are great fabrics to start with as a beginner. If you are going to use a denim, just be aware that you'll need to use a denim needle. But cottons and chambrays and things like that are a great place to start for a beginner because they're nice and simple and easy to sew. Once you've chosen your fabric, if you've chosen, you also are going to need potentially a few notions, so just check the pattern packet for that. And by notions I mean haberdashery, which is things like zips or buttons, although I don't think any of those patterns included buttons, but you might need a zip, you're going to need some thread, just those bits and pieces to bring the project together. But if you go onto our site, you can get all of this all in one go. And you will need a few basic sort of sewing tools as well. So I did a video on this and I did a blog post as well, and you can find the link to those below, where I listed the absolute bare essentials that you need. So you don't need to spend a fortune on these items. The one place I'd recommend you do spend a bit of money is on the dressmaking scissors, because a good quality pair of scissors for cutting your fabric will make life a lot easier. But lots of the other things that you can buy are very, very minimal in price. There's just 9 items. You just need some paper scissors for cutting out your pattern, a tape measure for measuring yourself, dressmaking scissors, sewing machine needles. You probably need some hand sewing needles, a small pair of scissors just for any stray threads. An unpicker is important as well, just in case you make any mistakes. But I've written it all up in a nice handy blog post, and I did a video as well, and I'll put the link below. You know, you don't need to spend a fortune on these items, just get the bare essentials to get you started. And then once you've got those, you're ready to sew. So just get on, have a go. And I really am so passionate about encouraging people to go easy on yourself. You know, when I first started sewing, I was the world's most impatient person. I wanted to be making a ball gown overnight, and that is really not going to happen for most people. But it has taught me to be more patient. It has taught me to not be so hard on myself. It has taught me that we make mistakes, but that's fine. You know, everybody makes mistakes, and in fact that's one of the best ways you can possibly learn, because generally if you make an annoying mistake, you never make that same mistake again because you're so annoyed by it. But yeah, just go easy on yourself. Take the opportunity to just slow down, focus your mind on something that's creative and enjoyable and fun, and so different from lots of the things that are in our everyday life today. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that's encouraged people to give it a go, to take the plunge, take up this fantastic hobby. If you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.